Hello again, and welcome to The Lion Roars, presented by Penn State University, Abington College. I'm Dr. Moylan Mills, Professor Emeritus of Integrative Arts at Abington campus. And on this program, we're going to be discussing some of the fascinating programs that are being presented for corporations and for community institutions by Penn State University's Continuing Education Division. My first guest today is Keena Sears, who is a continuing education representative. And Keena, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr.
And I know that you're very much involved with the Cultural Competence initiative at ARIA Hospital Frankfurt Division. Can you explain a little bit about that program for us?
Sure. ARIA Health System, and specifically the Frankfurt campus, is a valued client of Penn State Abington, and they came to us requesting training. It was a little bit of a different kind of training need as it pertained to cultural competence. They had a cohort of, a blended cohort of nurses as well as OR techs and the sort.
When you say blended cohort, what do you mean?
Well, meaning it was nurses, ER representatives, as well as registration people who needed to really speak to the population of visitors and patients for that particular location, which is the Hispanic community. Mm-hmm. So they asked us to provide training to address those kind of needs. The training that we provided in the area of cultural competence included elementary Spanish 101, if you will, as well as medical terminology as it related to healthcare, and of course translated in Spanish. The cohort ended, the actual training ended this past spring, and it really went over well because the nurses as well as the technicians and everyone else in the cohort was able to grasp a basic understanding of Spanish and apply it in their individual work settings.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us how committed Penn State is to cultural competence?
We're very committed. Several years ago, Penn State Abington decided to create SILC, which is an acronym that stands for Center for Intercultural Leadership Communication. Mm-hmm. And this part of Penn State Abington really focuses on fostering improved leadership skills as well as communication in the area of diversity for business settings, but in particular in healthcare settings. We felt that being healthcare is one of our largest industry partners, we would be doing our clients a disservice by not offering cultural competence programs under the umbrella of the center.
Yeah. Did ARIA come to you and Penn State and say, we need this kind of program? Could you help us set that up?
Yes, they did.
And how long has the program been in existence?
Well, the inaugural program ran this past fall, as I indicated.
So it's very new.
It's very new, but they have signed up to do another cohort, actually, the cohort that just finished training, they're going to do an intermediate level of training, mm-hmm. For reinforcement purposes, as well as a new cohort of students that will be in May of this year. So we're really excited about continuing that partnership with ARIA.
And why is this so important to the healthcare field to have cultural competence, which as I understand, means being able to move from one's own culture to another culture, say Hispanic or perhaps Asian. Is that correct?
That is very correct. It's important for the healthcare industry because cultural competency is the main ingredient, if you will, that closes any disparities in healthcare. So if you can imagine being a provider and having a highly, high Hispanic community and not understanding their cultural differences and their traits that are inherent in their culture, there would be a disconnect between the quality of care that could be provided and their receptiveness to their care. So then, there could be some not so favorable health outcomes as a result of it. So a lot of health systems have really been focusing on cultural competency, and hopefully they'll call Penn State to help them in their process.
Well, it sounds as if this is a very important service for the healthcare community and probably for some other communities as well. It's been fascinating to hear about it, Keena, and thank you for being our guest. We'll be right back after these messages. We'll take a short break.
My time is very valuable to me.
Lots of people depend on me for their everyday needs.
If you do go back, it has to be to a place that'll be worth it.
I needed a place with lots of options, with a great reputation.
Employers know the difference.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I chose Penn State.
Penn State Abington. Get to a better place.
Penn State, everyone knows it.
We're back again discussing continuing education services presented by Penn State Abington College. And on this segment, my guests are Joy Fraunfelder, who is Assistant Director of Continuing Education. We have Leslie Belikoff, who is the Training and Employee Manager for Canon Financial Services, and Lynn Sowden, who is an instructor in the leadership program. I want to start with you, Leslie, and ask you, just explain what Canon Financial Services is and where is the business located?
Sure. Canon Financial Services is a wholly owned subsidiary of Canon USA. Our mission is to provide the end user with financial options for the acquisition of Canon equipment and services. And we basically deal with Canon dealers, which is Canon Business Solution, our sister subsidiary, as well as Canon authorized independent dealers. And ultimately, one of our primary goals is to retain the business of Canon customers.
Oh, of course. And where is the business located?
Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Joy, can you give us an overall look at the leadership training program that's provided for Canon?
Sure. This arm of Penn State Abington we're called Workforce Solutions, and what that means is we take Penn State training programs off the campus and onto business sites within the region, and in fact in New Jersey as well. And this leadership program is one of our more popular programs. Many companies want to build the bench of their managers, and they want to hire their existing managers to move up the ladder. So we often get asked for a program like this. We get to know the audience, and I work with clients like Leslie to find out their goals for the program, and then we customize them to meet their needs.
And Leslie, how did you determine that Canon needed a leadership training program? What were the ingredients that went into the decision?
We have a very mixed tenure and experience level of our management base. So really in an effort to ensure that our competencies and management training has a consistent foundation, they're all really learning and practicing the same principles and basically starting from that same ground up. And then from there, focusing on individual development planning, but we really needed a foundation to start from.
And why did you choose Penn State?
A couple of reasons. I am an alumni.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. And in the past, I had actually worked with Joy and for this particular program with a Philadelphia-based company, and had some experience with this program, very positive experience, and I came on to Canon Financial Services and saw that the organization could really benefit from a program like this one. I was very, very eager to bring it on site.
And how many participants do you have in the program?
Say now we're about 26, 27 currently.
Yeah, this is the fifth time
That you've run the
we've run
program?
a class for Canon Financial, so I think we've put over 100 participants through various levels of leadership program within the organization. And each level of manager, we customize the program to that level, whether it's an entry level, a new leader, or someone who's been in a management role for a long time. I think we've been able to customize that to meet their needs.
And how are the participants selected? Do you mandate that certain employees take the program? Are they self-selected? Are there incentives for taking the program?
Well, because we are looking for really a consistent curriculum throughout the organization on the management level, it is mandated. So the first time we went through the program, our inaugural program, we put through all of our associates from supervisor to senior manager. And now for the second round, basically we took a look and said, well, who has either been promoted in that time frame that didn't have the opportunity to join the series, or perhaps hired during the course of the program. So that way everyone's getting in at the same level and truly having the benefit of the program from beginning to end and all carrying away those same philosophies.
So practically everyone in the company takes the program.
Everyone on the management level.
On the management level, yes. Let me bring Lynn into the conversation.
Okay.
Lynn, you're the lead instructor in
One of
this
two.
particular program.
Partnership there.
Okay, and can you give us a specific example of some of the activities
Sure.
that you're involved in?
Sure. One of the things that we make sure to do in this kind of thing is not the talking head, and I actually say that to the participants on their first day, that what they're not going to get is someone reading the PowerPoint to them. It's very much about them. So the activities, the fancy term we know, is adult experiential learning, and it's very much practical application through a lot of different venues. So we do everything from self-assessments and self-profiles to things like desert survival, the different survival activities that tend to focus on teamwork. We do some climate assessment within the organization so they have a chance to think about how that fits. And we also have, which I really like that Leslie and group support this, they do a project. And so they get to see and practice right away the principles into their real work. So the emphasis is, we're not giving you extra, this is about the stuff you do day to day.
So it's a very collaborative
Yes.
approach
Yes,
to
very much.
to the training.
Yes.
And the idea of a project is quite fascinating, and it is connected to their everyday work.
Yes.
No.
And
So in a way, they're helping to promote the company through the project.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's been fun because when we launched this next round, some of the participants from the first round spoke at our kickoff and talked about how and what they did, and the participants now were able to say, oh yes, okay, that's why this has happened, or that's why that has happened.
So there
it's
are a
very
lot of
real.
connections.
Yes.
How do you like teaching adult students?
I love
Lynn?
it.
Have
I
you
love
have
it.
you taught the traditional college-age students?
Yes, actually I have a little bit and have chosen to do this. So even when I've done graded teaching versus in the workforce, I especially like the adults. One of the emphases is that I feel very strongly about is we recognize that they're colleagues. And so what they don't get is, we know it and you don't. It's more, we want to help you realize what you already know so you can do it on purpose. And then we're going to add in skills. Part of our job for you is to help you know what current theory is, and then how does it apply in today's workplace.
So that you see yourself as more of a guide,
Yes.
in a way, than
Yes.
the traditional, I'm on a pedestal, I'm the teacher.
Yes.
You're the people down there who
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
They'd laugh us out of the
Yeah.
room. I don't know that anybody would.
I've taught adult students, and I love teaching adult students
Yes.
because, first of all, they always do the homework. Secondly, they have questions, and they
Yes.
want to know things,
yes.
and they are interested in the collaboration
Yes.
with the instructor. So I absolutely go along with your view that it's
Yeah.
great to teach adult students.
And they also want the practical application. So it's very much current, that commercial today of, oh, that's so 10 seconds ago. And they want to know, how is this going to apply? And a lot of what we do, in fact, last week, I literally said to them, some of what we're doing today, you'll be able to use this afternoon. You'll be able to use tomorrow.
Right.
I think that's the great thing about this program, is that there are so many connections between the program and the actual work.
Right.
Yes.
It really makes
So that there's a constant kind of feeding into each other. Leslie, let me ask you, what are some of the reactions from the participants? Are you getting pretty positive reactions?
Absolutely. The feedback has been consistently positive, and over the past 2+ years that we've been offering and providing this program, I think there's, and for a few reasons.
I'm going to have to interrupt you right at that point, but you've made your point that the program has gotten very positive feedback. It's great to hear about the program and about the services that Penn State is providing for you and how well it works. We're going to take a short break right now, and we're going to be back right after these messages.
My time is very valuable to me.
Lots of people depend on me for their everyday needs.
If you do go back, it has to be to a place that'll be worth it.
I needed a place with lots of options, with a great reputation.
Employers know the difference.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I chose Penn State.
Penn State Abington. Get to a better place.
Penn State, everyone knows it.
We're back again talking about Penn State University's continuing education services. Continuing education is a very important segment of the university's education because we believe in lifelong learning for the business sector, for the cultural community, for the organizational field. We're going to continue our discussion of leadership training, and my guests are Randy Ingbertson, who is Assistant Director of Community Education, Continuing Education, and Jim Ulinsky, who is one of our leadership training instructors, and Chris Wendt, who is Training Manager for Haynes and Kibble House. Chris, let me start with you.
Okay.
And I want to ask you where your firm is located and what kind of business is your firm involved in?
Okay, it's a great question, Mike. We're located in Skipback, Pennsylvania, and we are a fully integrated construction company. And what I mean by fully integrated is we're in the site contracting business, and we are our own material supplier. We have quarries and asphalt plants. We have a site container service, so when we show up on the job, we not only can do the site contracting portion, but we can provide the materials, we can lay the concrete, we can do the paving, we can do it all. So
You can do everything.
Yes, we can. Yep. We're positioned very well.
Let me turn to Randy here and ask you to describe the leadership training program at H&K. Can you give an overall view for us?
Sure. It was about 2005, and Jim and I were working together with another organization, and Jim was doing a lot of hands-on activities with the students in his class. And he and I talked and said it would be wonderful if we could take some of these training programs out, to other organizations. And lo and behold, I happened to have my business card out on the table, and Chris picked it up and he contacted us, talked a little bit about leadership training and the types of programs we could provide. And I introduced him to Jim, and then the other thing we did is Jim and I actually went out with Chris to a couple different company locations. I think we went to a quarry, we went to an excavating location, and really talked with the employees about what their leadership training needs were. And from that, Jim put together a wonderful program, and I know he wants to talk about it.
Jim, why don't you jump in here? It's a perfect segue. And talk about some of the activities in your classes and tell us about these toys on the table.
Okay. First of all, we had two programs, a Leadership 1 and a Leadership 2 program. The Leadership 2 program developed after we had started working with Haynes and Kibble House, and they asked us then to do a Leadership 2. In Leadership 1, one of the last activities they do for the day is Jungle Escape. And in Jungle Escape, we do an interactive presentation, followed by an activity, and then a debrief at the end. So they have workbooks that they use. They're assigned to teams. And what they have to do at the end is assemble a 97-piece helicopter, fly it up to me, making the sounds of a helicopter. And it's about communication or lack thereof sometimes, because some of it's about listening skills, working effectively together as a team. So we tie in a wide range of training skills into an activity. And what we found was that making the training fun and applicable to what they're doing, we use examples from the company, in this case, Haynes and Kibblehouse. They provide us with some samples and examples of things that they're doing, and we tie it into the presentation. The next one is Mars Rover.
Let me ask you one thing about this. How many components did you say go
97 pieces.
They have to have exactly 97.
Exactly 97 pieces, and they have to be in the exact order. We made it as difficult as we possibly could. So if there's a piece turned this way and they fly it up to Chris or I, we say it's wrong. You have to fly it back. They have 30 minutes, which is the equivalent of 30 days, to complete the exercise. We also tied in competition with it too. One of the first things we tell them is competition is great. There's a time when it could hinder your organization. Competition can actually, if the teams are not working together, if you have financial department, human resources, the various components, and they're not working together, they're working competitively against one another, you can hurt the organization.
So this is about cooperation.
So it's about cooperation. And at the very end, we see if one team does the exercise within 25 minutes, do they disassemble it, or do they fly it over to another group and let them observe the helicopter right where it's at? Do they help the other teams become successful, or do they become so competitive that they only concentrate on their team?
So obviously they would get points if they fly it over to the other team.
Yes.
Is there a winner? I mean, is there an Oscar for best helicopter?
At the end of the Leadership 1,
helicopters too, though.
at the end of Leadership 1, we present them, the team that has the most points accumulated, we present them, in this case with coffee mugs, and we have some prizes along the way as well.
Okay. Before we get to the other vehicle here, I want to ask Chris, why did you choose Penn State to run your leadership training program?
Well, Penn State really was an attraction to me, mainly after we talked to them. We had talked to several other vendors, and their application-based model and the experiential-based training that they provided was exactly what we needed. We have guys who are hands-on every day, out in the field. We needed to provide them with the avenue of training that was going to speak most clearly to them. So having a person standing in front talking for 8 hours was not going to work for us.
So you liked the sort of collaborative, the cooperative way that Penn State set up its program?
Oh yes, yep, very much indeed.
Good. And how many participants have gone through the program, Chris?
We've had about 350 go through Leadership 1 and about 400 go through Leadership 2.
And does everyone in the management, at the management level, go through the program, or how do you?
Yeah, we have levels set up. Anyone who's identified as a supervisor in the company, whether a crew foreman or a project manager or an estimator, has to go through it. And then we also identify our lead personnel, the people who are more or less the right-hand person of the supervisor. They also go through the training. And then it's up to supervisors if they have the industry calls them high potentials. I don't particularly like that term, but people who might be your A players that you want to give a little bit more training to are also allowed to be.
They've been identified by you and the other top managers, is
correct. Yep, exactly.
Okay, yeah. And have you gotten feedback that is positive?
Well, yeah, and now that you bring that up, we're more interested not necessarily in feedback per se, but something that we do and we believe very strongly in for any of our training event is we send out a survey beforehand and we say, what are you being faced with that you want to be able to overcome in today's training? So they have that already written down, and then at the very end of the training, they have to make a will statement where they reflect back on the problem that they initially identified in their own career and their own job and say, out of everything you learned today, what is one thing that you will do to help you overcome the situation that you yourself identified? So it's a great way to link this back to them personally. in a way that will manifest itself in greater ways than we will even know.
Now, let me go back to Jim and this strange-looking vehicle here. Tell us about that.
This is Mars Rover, and what they're doing as a team is there's an individual component, and originally we do not allow proper communication to happen. So what happens typically is that the person fails in their part of assembly, the second person comes in and they have to try to work from a failed section, and once again setting the entire team up for failure. Once we're done with that, we then go back, redo the exercise, allowing for proper communication, talking with one another, sharing information, and then allowing them to assemble another vehicle, this time looking at trying to make it as efficient as possible and financially the cheapest way to do it, yet a functional vehicle. And then upon completion of that, we race them for extra fun. And we have a competition.
So they really work.
Yes, they actually do work, and it's an incredible exercise, and it ties in the difference between a team and a group, and there's a big difference. Many people believe they work for teams, when in essence they work for groups.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. It really is. How many of these programs, Randy, are being run by Penn State Continuing Education, leadership training programs?
Around the area?
Around, like for the spring semester, how many would you say we've been involved in?
Typically, I think we would run about 20 a semester.
Really? So it's quite an important segment.
And all around the Philadelphia area.
Well, I want to thank all of my guests for giving us a look at the nuts and bolts of Penn State Abington's continuing education programs. I think they are a very important service for our community. I'm Dr. Moylan Mills, and I will see you next time on The Lion Roars.